Patience is the highest strategy. Not strength, not speed, not intelligence, patience. The man who can wait, watch, and strike only. When the moment is ripe, he owns time itself. And time is the only true king in this life. Let that sink in. Most people are slaves to impulse. They want everything now. Success now. Respect now. Validation now. They move fast, act without thinking, and drown in their own desperation. They chase the illusion of progress and call it ambition. But here's the reality. Empires are not built in a day. They are built by those who understand the power of restraint. The greatest minds in history didn't win because they were the loudest or the strongest. They won because they could wait, they could observe, they could anticipate, and when the right moment came, they acted with surgical precision. Sun Tzu said it best: "He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight." Think about that. It's not about constant aggression. It's about controlled execution. About choosing the exact moment when your enemy is weak and you are strong. That moment comes only to those who are patient enough to see it. Machiavelli, the master strategist of political manipulation, understood this intimately. He didn't believe in blind virtue. He believed in outcomes. And he taught that patience, when used correctly, is not passive, it's predatory. Nietzsche took it even further. He believed that those who could endure suffering without breaking were destined for greatness. In his words, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." What he's really saying is this: those who can delay gratification, those who can tolerate chaos without reacting emotionally, those who can play the long game, they become unstoppable. So here's why this matters. We live in a world of instant everything. Fast food, fast dopamine, fast success, and most of it is fake. It's a lie sold to you by marketers who want you weak, distracted, and dependent. They want you chasing breadcrumbs while they build kingdoms. But if you want to dominate your field, your mind, your life, you must learn to delay, to withhold, to cultivate silence as a weapon, to see time not as an enemy, but as your most lethal ally. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. This is about becoming strategic, deliberate, cold. This is about replacing emotional reaction with surgical calculation. You're not avoiding action, you're mastering it. And in doing so, you'll move through life like a grandmaster across a chessboard. Always 10 steps ahead. Always calm. Always dangerous. So listen carefully. This isn't just philosophy. This is war. A psychological war against mediocrity, against impulse, against the constant noise of a world that wants to rush you into oblivion. And if you master patience, truly master it, you become immune to pressure. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You stop reacting. You start deciding. And the world starts bending to your will. If this hit you, if you felt something deep when I said time is the only true king, then pause for a second and hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next will give you the tools to use patience like a weapon. We're diving into the ancient playbooks of Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and Nietzsche. You'll learn how to turn silence into power, waiting into dominance, and delay into destiny. Don't blink. Step 1. Understand this patience is not the absence of action. It is the presence of control. A man who waits with intent is not idle. He is sharpening his blade while others are swinging blindly. He is listening while others are shouting. He is watching the board while others move in panic. That is not weakness. That is power in its rawest form. Sun Tzu wrote, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Only the patient warrior can achieve this, because he understands that war is not won in the heat of emotion. It is won in the cold, quiet calculation of timing." Most people are slaves to urgency. But urgency is a trap. It makes you sloppy. It makes you loud. It makes you predictable. Predictability is death. The truly dangerous man is the one you cannot read. He waits in silence. He moves like fog. You never see him coming, and when he strikes, it's already too late. Machiavelli would argue that political power is not about popularity or charisma. It is about the long game. He warned that a prince must be both a lion and a fox. The lion intimidates. The fox deceives. But both must know when to lie in wait. You must understand this. Waiting is not passive, it is active. But that action is internal. It is mental. You are building pressure like a coiled spring. You are storing energy, watching patterns, collecting leverage, until the day you unleash it all with brutal efficiency. Nietzsche believed that greatness requires suffering, and the greatest form of suffering is self-restraint. To deny yourself short-term gratification for long-term power is the ultimate test of will. It separates the herd from the wolf. He wrote, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." What is that meaning? It is your vision, your long-term aim, your empire waiting to be built. That vision is what gives you the strength to resist the noise, to wait through the storm without flinching. But here's the secret. Most people don't fail because they lacked talent. They fail because they lacked patience. They burned out chasing speed. They moved before they were ready. They gave in to the pressure of the moment, and they paid the price. The man who moves with purpose does not fear delay. He uses it. He weaponizes it. When others panic, he observes. When others act, he plans. When others fall, he advances. That is the rhythm of the patient mind. And once you master it, you become something else entirely. You become inevitable. So here is your test. The next time you feel the urge to act impulsively, stop. Breathe. Think. Ask yourself, is this the right move or just the fastest one? Will this bring me closer to the throne or just feed my ego? Patience is not sexy. It's not exciting, but it is lethal. And those who wield it, they outlast everyone. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt like you've been rushing through life without strategy, then hit that subscribe button right now. Because part 3 is where we go deeper into the tactics, the subtle maneuvers that turn patience into pressure. You'll learn how to influence, how to position, and how to dominate without making a sound. Step 2. Turn your silence into pressure. The weak stay silent because they are afraid. The strong stay silent because they are calculating. Every second of silence builds tension. Every pause, every delay, every moment you do not speak or act becomes a question in the mind of your opponent. And questions are more powerful than answers. Sun Tzu understood this intimately. He taught that in warfare, misdirection and uncertainty are weapons more effective than steel. He said, all warfare is based on deception. That includes psychological warfare, and silence is its most precise tool. You don't always need to confront. Sometimes, the most devastating move is none at all. Let your opponent sweat. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them drown in their own anticipation. That's the art of patience applied in real time. Machiavelli knew the value of appearances. In The Prince, he advised rulers to be both feared and loved. But if they could not be both, it was safer to be feared. Why? Because fear creates hesitation, and hesitation creates vulnerability. But what causes fear, more than any threat, is unpredictability. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop reacting emotionally, When you detach and observe without being seen, you create an aura of quiet dominance. People sense it. They feel the gravity of your restraint. It makes them unsure. And uncertainty is the beginning of influence. Nietzsche would say this is the will to power in its purest form. Not brute force, not loud declarations, but an inner tension, tightly coiled, waiting for the exact moment to act. A man who can sit in silence, endure doubt, and still remain unmoved, holds a power that the impulsive will never understand. But this doesn't come easy. We're wired to respond, conditioned to explain, trained to validate ourselves with constant motion. That's why this principle is so hard for most to grasp. They confuse silence with weakness, stillness with submission. But nothing could be further from the truth. The mountain does not chase the wind. It waits, it watches, and it endures long after the storm is gone. You must become that mountain. Hold your tongue when others speak recklessly. Withhold your hand when others reach too soon. Choose your moment with surgical accuracy. Make them lean in. Make them guess. Make them fear the unknown. Because here's the truth. People are not afraid of what they see. They are afraid of what they cannot predict. And when you master this skill, when you learn to make silence your sword, you become the question that no one can answer. You become the variable no one can control. And that is the most dangerous position in any battlefield, whether it is business, war, or life. So next time you walk into a room, say less. Next time you're tempted to explain your plan, don't. Next time someone pushes you for a reaction, pause. Let the silence speak for you. Let your restraint shake the foundation. That is pressure. And pressure cracks the world. If this feels real to you, if you're done being loud and ineffective, if you're ready to wield your presence like a weapon, subscribe right now. Because Part 4 will show you how to use time itself to crush your competition. We're entering the domain of long-term strategy, and the lessons you'll learn will outlast every trend, every trick, every shortcut. This is the beginning of true power. Step 3. Use time as your weapon. Most people are ruled by time. Their deadlines choke them. Their schedules own them. They panic as the minutes slip through their fingers. But the elite, the ones who dominate in business, power, and life, they do not chase time. They command it. Sun Tzu didn't fight every battle. He chose his wars. He waited for the exact moment when the terrain favored him, when the enemy was weak, and when the odds were quietly tilting in his favor. That takes discipline. That takes vision. That takes the patience to watch the clock and let others move first. In The Prince, Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." But there's a deeper layer here. The wise man waits, but not passively. He prepares while the fool scrambles. He anticipates while others react. So when his time comes, he moves with such precision that it looks instantaneous. And Nietzsche, always the hammer on the soul, reminds us again and again what lasts is forged in suffering and time. He said, "Great things are not accomplished by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. That is the architecture of power. Not a single act, but layers of decision, action, discipline, and delay stacked patiently over time until the foundation is unbreakable." You see, time multiplies power. Every hour you invest into yourself builds a version of you 10 times stronger than who you were yesterday. Every day you resist distraction adds weight to your will. Every year you play the long game while others burn out chasing shortcuts. You gain leverage. And leverage is the secret currency of the powerful. You don't need to run faster than everyone else. You need to run longer. You don't need to win today. You need to stay in the game long enough that everyone else gives up. Most people won't last. They get bored. They want results in 30 days. If success doesn't show up at their door like a pizza, they quit. And that's fine. Let them quit. Let them brag on social media and fall off 6 months later. You are playing a longer game. The Roman Empire wasn't built in a weekend hustle challenge. It was built through calculated patience, through ruthless planning, through holding the line while others collapsed. That is your mindset now. When you feel behind, remember this: you are not late, you are loading. When you feel ignored, remember, the world doesn't see kings until they rise. When you feel tempted to speed things up, ask yourself, am I building something that will last, or am I just chasing noise? Time is not your enemy, it is your forge. And every second you delay gratification, every moment you choose discipline over comfort, every day you stay the course, you are gaining ground, quietly, strategically, irreversibly. By the time they notice you, it will be too late. If this struck you, if you felt the pull of something deeper, something timeless, subscribe now. Because the final part is where it all converges. You will learn how to become untouchable, how to think like a strategist, move like a ghost, and dominate like a king. Patience is the highest strategy, but what comes next is how to make it lethal. Step 4. Become untouchable. Once you master patience, silence, and time, you reach the final phase, the level few ever touch. You become a master strategist. You move in shadows, you influence without speaking. You dominate without being seen. This is not about manipulation, this is about elevation. By now, you understand what Sun Tzu meant when he said, "In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity." But you only see that opportunity if you are calm enough to perceive it, if you are patient enough to wait for it. Chaos blinds the impulsive, but to the strategist, chaos is clarity. It reveals patterns, it exposes weakness, and it gives you the opening you need. Machiavelli would call this fortune, unpredictable force of life. Most people are tossed around by it. They beg for luck, pray for timing, and blame the winds when they fall. But the master does not complain about the wind. He builds sails. You must build your sails. That means preparing every day as if the storm is already on the horizon. You stack your skills. You sharpen your judgment. You build relationships not for applause, but for leverage. You observe everything. You play your role so well that no one suspects the depth of your strategy. Then, when the tide shifts, you strike. Not emotionally, not frantically, but with such control that your move feels like fate. Nietzsche taught that the superior man creates his own values. He doesn't wait to be chosen, he chooses himself. That is your final evolution. When you are no longer seeking validation, no longer trying to be understood, no longer chasing noise, then you are free. And in that freedom, you become dangerous. Patience gives you this freedom, because when you no longer need things immediately, when you are willing to suffer longer, wait longer, and plan deeper, you become untouchable. They cannot tempt you. They cannot provoke you. They cannot rush you. The world bends to the one who does not flinch. But let's be clear, this level is not crowded. Most will never make it. Not because they can't, but because they refuse to let go of the addiction to speed. They think more is more. They confuse movement with progress. They mistake loudness for strength. You are not most people. You are building something bigger than a moment. You are building a legacy. And legacy requires strategy, patience, vision, endurance. This is the final truth. The war is not won in a single battle. It is won in the mind. In how long you can wait, in how deeply you can think, in how calmly you can move when others are running in circles. The patient man walks into every room with power because he does not need to prove it. The strategist wins before the game begins because he sees 10 moves ahead. The master moves through life untouched, not because he avoids pain, but because he transforms it. You must become all three. If you made it this far, you are not just consuming information, you are becoming something more. If this hit something deep, if this made you rethink how you move, how you wait, how you win, subscribe right now. Because this is not just a video, this is a blueprint, and we're only getting started. Every week, we go deeper.